Hello, Carol here with another miniature quilt. It's from this book, Little by Little, by Mary Hickey. This is now my 6th miniature quilt from this book and I'm loving it. So I've been choosing at random and this time it's prairie lilies. I've never done a flower block, so this is me expanding my horizons, which is why I'm making these. So this block is 3 1/8 of an inch square. I'm going to draw out 2 of these blocks, one for reference and one for the templates, because I'm going to do scrappy. So I've had a little Google and this is the flower in question. And while there's nothing stopping you from making up your own colours, I like these ones. So with that inspiration, I'm having a forage. I'm hard pressed me to find some white fabric because I have a bit of a mad scientist tendency to want to dye fabric and mark fabric and print things on fabric. So this is dyed with Brusho Sea Green and I've just been waiting for the perfect project. And then there's this fabric that I quite like. I like this swirly cloud affair going on. And then for the flowers, like I said, I wanted to get in my scrap bags. You need very, very little fabric for these flowers. So I'm just going to pull out some of the appropriate colours and then I'm going to set them onto the 2 different backgrounds and see what I like the best. And well, finally, I'm not quite liking the swirly clouds. I'm liking this better. Right, I've decided on the green background with the orange flowers. So I've coloured in my template because this stops me getting into so much trouble. So this is what the finished block should look like. And it is constructed like this. The bigger green square. And then the 3 flowers. And 2 of the flowers, the ones to the right and the left, have an extra green strip on them. So then we're going to sew together these 2 and then these 2 and then these 2 pieces like that. Got it. First thing to do is cut out some triangles for the flowers. So the book will often have you making bias triangles, so fabric cut on the bias, but I haven't got enough fabric to do this, so I'm just going to cut out a square and then draw a diagonal line like this, and I'm going to sew to each side of the square about 1/4 inch. And if you have enough fabric, you can do this on a grid, or here I've just put 2 squares together just to make it go a bit faster, a bit more streamlined. When you've sewn to either side of the diagonal line, so I'm just going to cut my square out because I did 2 squares together, and then I'm just going to cut right up that centre line, open it out, and I've got my square, and I'm going to press it to the green side, so to the background side. And because these little miniature quilts are really quite finicky, I'm going to use my template each time to draw around it and make sure I've got a good precise shape. So once I've got my half square triangle at the top, I cut out a bigger triangle for the bottom. This is me trying to figure it out, all the wheels in my head turning. And to complete the square, I'm going to have to add on to my half square triangle square. How are you doing? Are you keeping up? Right, so I need to add on to my half square triangle square 2 smaller triangles that will complete the big square. So to do this, I'm just cutting out a square along the diagonal to make triangles. It's really not complicated, but it's words that trip me up. But as you can see, it's quite easy. So you are going to sew along this line, sew along this line, and then you'll have a big triangle a big miniature triangle like this. And then I've used the template just to make sure and straighten things up. Then all that's really left to do is to sew these two larger triangles that are the same size now together. Very sorry about not actually getting this on camera. I just have to tell you what I'm doing. So I've folded the larger triangle in half just to make sure I'm getting the middle, and then I'm pinning it together. You can really easily see the middle on the other triangle. Then I pop a pin on each extremity of the triangle. There, you can see now, look. So pin the life out of it, sew your two pieces together, and then you'll have this. And you're going to need to have 3 of them for each block. Well then, once you've made absolutely enough mess and the kids are about to come back in, you better label everything. And I'm going to put all my templates and my Nivea tin. Then everything goes in a jelly bag, because this one has actually taken a little bit of time and I don't want to lose all my bits and pieces. But I've had a lovely afternoon sewing, and I've had the Tour de France on in the background keeping us company. Although I cannot watch them going uphill. I just feel too much empathy for them and I just have to turn away. But I love the bird's eye views and the commentary. It's lovely. And then before you know it, you've got your blocks. Then you need to put your blocks into strips. I'm going to fold each strip together and make sure that everything's pinned and sewn together as it should be. And as I've been working, I've been cutting all the seam allowances down to about 1/8 of an inch. So it's taken form now. It's looking a bit like a miniature quilt. But to help them look like flowers, you have to sew on a stem with a little stem stitch even. And then there is some applique leaves. So I'm just in my scrap bag again. Again, you need very little fabric. And you just cut out the leaves. And it's lush when you've got the right tools for the job. I use these threads, which are for applique. They're nice and thin. I've even got some applique pins that I picked up from a second-hand shop. And I have an applique needle. It really does make a difference, I find. It's a long, thin needle and it just makes everything go smoother. To do the applique, I draw on the right side of the fabric with a friction pen, so that'll come off when you iron it. And for the point of the leaf, I find it useful to fold the top back and then do the sides. I've also marked on the quilt exactly where I want to put the applique. And this is the first time I've used applique pins because I've just got them, and they were really, really helpful. You're not getting all your threads tangled up in your long pins hanging over the sides. They were really nice to have. And here we are at the end of the project. Adding on a couple of borders. She puts 3 borders on in the book. I'm all for doing what you like. Or you know what, we should have a look at hers. This is what it looks like in the book. So let's have a look at the finished quilt. I quite like it in the end. And these are really easy to take out for a walk to try and get a good photo for your Instagram. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. We're both funny, both. Nice to meet you. It's not a quilt. It is my number. Bit too many arms. Did you get all of it in it? Oh.